And away we go. Thursday night, live edition of the Nightcap right here on BearcatJournal.com. You know the deal. www.galacticfriedchicken.com. Get yourself to the website, get the app. They will bring it right to your front door, pretty much anywhere inside the 275 loop. Or go down to Dayton, Kentucky. Tell them to pump it up. Save yourself 15% off of that Galactic goodness. Chicken tendies, fried chicken, French fries, coleslaw, fried pickles, you name it, they got it. Go support those that support us with our good friends at Galactic Fried Chicken. Hi, Aaron.
Yo.
What's going on?
Oh, Thursday night. Lots of videos to watch to catch up for this one. I think it ended up being over an hour of video together.
It was a busy day.
Between the movement, Coach Wes Miller, all 6 of the players, I think it was. 6? Is that right?
7.
7.
I think Egan did 3 and I did 4. So yeah, it was kind of just grab and go as the guys were bouncing around between their media day responsibilities, getting pictures taken and doing the green screen for video for like in-game promotions and things of that nature. So it was a busy day, and then got to hang around for a little bit of practice tonight, this evening, whatever it was. So busy day on campus, and then I stopped and grabbed some dinner, came home, watched the movement, made a couple phone calls, and now we are here and ready to go for Thursday nights. Where would you like to start, my friend?
We can start. Let's start. Maybe we'll just knock the 3 keys out of the way. Get that done and over with.
All right. Well, then knock it out.
All right. Let me pull that back up then.
Okay.
All right. Present this slideshow. All right, my 3 keys. Number 1, change things up. You got to do something different, and I don't care what that is. I don't care.
I don't care what you change up. Just change up something.
Change up something, whether that's getting some guys in at some key positions that have not seen some playing time, whether that's quarterback, whether that's defensive back, whether that's I don't really care, but some things have not been working. This car is not a well-oiled machine. There's some chinks in the armor, and I don't know. You got to change things up. I don't know, whatever that is. Maybe defensively.
Whatever it is.
Maybe defensively, you call a more aggressive game. I know you and Dave had been talking a little bit about that last night. Offensively, I don't know if we've seen slants, so maybe just something as simple as that. We'll see. We'll see what they do, but I think you have to change some things up. I believe this is Ryan Montgomery's mother in the chat saying Ryan's going to be back, so we'll see.
It will be good to see him.
I agree. Number 2, continue creating turnovers. Last week they were able to get a forced fumble and a fumble recovery. They were able to intercept a ball, which that hasn't happened very much this season. So I would love to see some more turnovers.
UCF is a team that likes to give it to the other team. One of the main reasons that they're 0-5 in Big 12 play is they really enjoy turning it over.
Yeah, they had 4 last week with Plumlee having all of them. John Rice Plumlee had all 4, 3 interceptions and 1 lost fumble. So figure it out. That's got to be in his head a little bit. And it's not as if UCF's had a ton of success at Nippert. So let's see what happens. Create some turnovers. And number 3, keep the fire burning. By that I mean, whatever happened in practice this week, take it with you into the game. Whatever energy you've had, take it into the game. Whatever guys are left here that have played UCF or played against these guys before that are now playing for UCF, take that into the game and just throw kerosene all over it. I want to see these guys playing with an energy that we haven't seen on the field yet. And I think that you've seen flashes of it at times this season, but defensively especially, special teams especially, I want it to look like obviously we don't want to injure the other team, but I want it to look like they're trying to take the other team's head off. I want it to be a ferocious game. And I think that if you really, again, unless you've lost Saturday, unless you've lost, the bowl chances are still alive. So you have to play that way. And it's going to take this 1-0 mentality that they keep talking about, but we have yet to see. It's going to take that. So I just want them to keep that fire burning.
It's fair. I mean, practice was fiery on Tuesday, and I haven't seen a practice kind of look like that in a while. You can tell guys care. Like that stuff doesn't happen if guys aren't, passionate about what's happening. So yeah, carry that over into Saturday and take it out on somebody. How about that? Go whip somebody else's ass. I'm with you. All right. Let's see. My 3 keys to victory, Aaron. Establish balance. Look, I understand that UCF has one of the worst run defenses in the country and that you're going to want to run the ball. But you cannot let a bad run defense just have this feeling that they only have to defend the 10 yards past the line of scrimmage. Like, you have got to put pressure on them and stretch them out, because like I said last night with Dave, one of my fears is with outside zone, the one thing that can negate it is speed. And if they're free to run to the ball without having the fear of a passing game over their heads, they could have a good game on run defense, even though they're bad at it, really bad at it. So, I mean, that is something that I think is critical. You have to be a threat early in this game throwing the football. I'm not saying throw it 50 times, but you can't go into the half with 5 pass attempts. Find the missing pressure. Where has it been? And I know that's a little tricky with John Rice Plumlee, because if you come after him overly aggressive, he can just tuck it and take off and beat you with his legs. But you also can't let him sit back there, fake a handoff and then sit in the pocket for 4 seconds and deliver a pass. He has beaten enough teams with his arm. Is he a great passer? No. But if you just let him stand back there and find guys running into open spaces, it can be a problem. So you've got to get him off the spot. You've got to be able to make him uncomfortable. And that is not something they've done to an opposing quarterback since they went against the guy that's now playing tight end. This is also important. UCF wants to run the ball. They want to kind of efficiently take you down the field. You have got to win field position. You cannot consistently start at the 20, the 25, and have them start at the 35, the 40. Fletch has got to find his groove, has got to get back to what we know is his capability. what we know is his talent level, pinning teams inside the 20, winning field position. And when you get in the red zone, score touchdowns, and then you get to kick off, and hopefully you get a touchback, and you make them start at their 25 and have to go 75 yards consistently down the field. I think this is one of those hidden areas where, what have we talked about with special teams? They've allowed big punt returns. They've allowed big kick returns. They haven't had the booming kicks. Like, they are losing the hidden yards in every one of these games. And I'm not used to it. I'm used to a special teams unit that dominates and wins field position with regularity. And if they're going to get back, on the winning side of things, they've got to get back to starting in better position than their opponent. Even if you get 2 first downs and you punt, like, you're punting from the 40, you should be able to pin them back inside, around the 10-yard line. Like, we're not seeing enough of that where Cincinnati is just punishing their opponent and making them go 75, 80, 85 yards down the field on every drive. So that's one of those things I don't think we've talked about enough during this losing streak, during Cincinnati not being as good as they should be. And a lot of that is you're giving teams free yards. So that's what I got. That's what I got.
All fair points.
Can you bring yourself to pick Cincinnati to win tomorrow in your article or in your blurb for the opponent preview?
I will never write the words. I predict UCF to
win. So this is just, whether you believe it or not, this is out of hatred.
Spite. That's correct.
Okay. That's fair. I don't blame you.
Not until
I don't know that I'm going to be able to do it, but I might be right, unfortunately.
Not this iteration of UCF.
Yeah, I mean, the one thing that we haven't talked a lot about this week is Scott Satterfield, his teams have played UCF twice in the past 2 years, and Louisville went 2-0.
Well, I don't know, for me, like, I'm looking at this game and I'm looking at the deficiencies that UCF has and what they've gone through this season and their transition to the Big 12 as well. Houston's already got dudes entering the transfer portal before you can even enter the transfer portal, just simply leaving the program. And they're worse off than either Cincinnati or UCF, despite their one win in the Big 12. Right? Yeah.
Their miracle win in the Big 12.
Correct. So maybe Holgerson's hot seat's a little hotter than I felt last night. In any case, I don't believe that. I think that the line is a little large for UCF at this point. I think that this is probably more of a coin flip game than it's being given credit for, and that's because
it's hard not to say when you look at results that UCF's not playing better football right now, even though both teams are losing.
Sure, but Cincinnati has also they've racked up a ton of yardage this season. Most of it happening before the losing streak got to 5 and 6. But that's not to say that this offense isn't capable of putting up some yardage. They just struggled to find the end zone when they've been putting up that yardage. So we'll see if they can put it all together and figure out how to win. If you're going to figure out how to win, I would imagine if this team's going to figure it out, it's going to be at Nippert. And this is probably your best shot the rest of the season in that regard, because you play Houston at Houston, and who knows what happens there. But I don't know.
The way this defense is playing, I don't want any part of Kansas right now. Kansas is putting up oodles and oodles of yards.
But if you're able to string together 3 in a row and you're going to play Kansas looking for that elusive 4th win in a row,
sure.
Elusive is probably almost too nice of a word at this point, but I don't know. I think that if this team is going to figure it out, it's got to happen at Nippert tomorrow. Otherwise, the rest of the season's probably looking at 7 in a row. That's a lot of doom and gloom.
Yeah, a lot. All right, let's let's move you over here and get to the other things. I guess we'll start with talking Wes Miller. I don't even know who all we talked to. We talked to Vic, we talked to CMOS, we talked to Ray, we talked to John Newman, we talked to CJ.
Notes on everything.
Yeah. All right. Have at
it. Wes, Adele, before we switch gears, Adele says hopefully Ryan will be at punt and kick return and get some yards like he's done in the past and get some big yardage at running back. So
Aaron has never agreed with something more.
Big team Montgomery right now. Give me both of them all day. Anyway, Wes says there's no update currently on the appeals, and voiced again while also making sure to preface it with that it's not a line, and he's concerned how hard this whole process has been on both Aziz and Jamil Reynolds. They transfer thinking they can transfer and not have any issues as they check all the boxes that the NCAA has said that you need to check, and clearly not the case. But that aside, getting onto the actual X's and O's, he likes his team's approach and unselfishness. He is happy where the point guards are, but admitted that he does need to get them up to speed with D1 ball. And he's looking to do a lot of that over the course of the non-conference schedule. He does not have a starting lineup set yet and is currently focused on more rotations as he is still learning and figuring things out with this team, who they are, what their deficiencies are, what they are going to excel at. It's evolving every day. And he said they have not officially yet moved into the locker room today. They are looking at tomorrow. But Zach Tobler working on that project has been special. And coach said that he's been on him for 9 months. And he said that Tobler probably can't wait to be done to have Wes off his back. But he also mentioned, I thought
I might or might not have gotten a sneak peek. And impressive. Tobes. I can't say too much, whatever, that they're going to do their own thing, but it's really, compared to what it looked like.
Yeah.
Compared to, let's just put it this way. The room for the locker room, like just the lockers, like just the player lockers, is what was the entire thing before. The locker room, the lounge, the whole 9 yards. It's now just the locker room, and then the the lounge area and the kitchen and like the nutrition center and all that stuff is basically half of that club that was underneath the arena. Remember the club that was right there? Yep. Basically, they cut that in half. The women get half, the men get half, and that is like the lounge area. There's a TV, there's a video game area that they've got PlayStation and Xbox and PC video game chairs. I think I've heard it wasn't there, but I've heard there's going to be like a pool table and arcade games and all kinds of stuff that, you know, there's no reason to ever leave. And then they have a sleeping area, a nap area with 4 beds that are 8 feet long and 4 feet wide.
We talked about that on one of the shows.
Yeah, and then they have 2 hydro massagers that are like $17,000 each. That's like a hydro massage chair, like a high tech. Remember at the mall they used to have those like massage chairs. It's like a massage chair, like one of those on ultra steroids.
They're gonna find football players sneaking into their locker room.
They're gonna come in and, you know, an offensive lineman's gonna be in one of the cubby bunks just taking a nap.
I was thinking the same thing, Steven.
No, I mean it's I'm just I'm explaining the scope of it, not what it looks like, but just the scope of it.
I also thought it was interesting that he mentioned that in his eyes and Coach Wes Miller's eyes, the court is the first most important thing to have at the highest level that you can have it for your players, but the locker room and lounge is the second most important thing. And
yeah,
I guess I would have thought that their living quarters would have been maybe higher than one of those, but I get where he's coming from.
They live in high-end like luxury apartments now, so
right. And then he also just mentioned that he's excited that they can sustain playing at an extremely high pace just due to how much depth they have. They don't, because you take some guys off the court doesn't mean you're necessarily going to slow down what they expect this team's pace to be.
Well, they don't expect a huge drop off. Like that's the difference, right? Like,
right.
If you have 7 guys that are more talented, significantly more talented than the 6 guys behind them, when you really start subbing, there's going to be a significant drop off. With this team, there's not a whole lot of distance between 10, 11, 12, and 1. So that's a nice luxury to have.
Which player you want to start with? Just go down the list in the order I have them.
Yeah.
All right. Odie.
I didn't get to see Keegan's. So
okay.
There's 3 of them that I haven't seen.
Odie mentioned how tight this group is. Just talked about how tight knit this group is in general. And that was echoed by several players in their one-on-ones. Also said he is happy to do what it takes to win. He's not looking for a specific role on this team. He's just going to do, whether it shows up on the stat sheet or not, he's going to do what it takes to win. Excited and eager to go to war every night in the Big 12. Mentioned how great it has been seeing Victor Locken evolve into the player he's become, as they've been around as long as anybody in this program at this point. Old heads, if you will.
Yeah.
And just that the pace has been catered to everyone, and he feels like they're all really excelling at the pace that they're running, as opposed to what's happened in some of the years past.
Okay.
Day-Day, he said that he is competing with Jizzle, but they are making each other better. He's enjoying that competition, and it's not like he seemed to speak fondly of Jizzle James. Also mentioned that the relationship that he had with Coach Wes Miller and Coach Chad Dollar were the reasons that he came to Cincinnati. He said that Cincinnati was the first offer he had when the portal opened, and just how much that meant to he and his mother. He said his mom cried immediately when he got that first D1 offer as he was coming out of JUCO. So this is obviously very different between not just the basketball level that he's playing at from JUCO, but also just the classes and the way that college is in general compared to JUCO. His favorite thing about this team is the energy. The things that he brings to this team are his energy and his defense in particular. I thought that was interesting that he mentioned his defense, as by all counts, speed has been normally mentioned number 1, but 2 has been what he did at the JUCO level offensively, as opposed to defense being what he feels he excels in more so than the offense. But he said right now he is focused mostly on just transition and what he can do running that transition offense.
It very much could be electric. He can get up and down the floor, boy. That's for sure.
Right. CJ Frederick, he said that this team has a lot of faith in Victor Locken shooting threes, which we've heard about it. We have not really seen much of it. But the fact that this continues to keep coming up, I think that we're going to actually see more of this in games than we have in recent years. So I think that as the players continue to talk about it and make it a thing that doesn't seem like they have any concern with. More so, they're excited about it. I'm also getting excited about Victor Locken being able to add that arsenal into his repertoire.
He's shot it very comfortably within the practices I've seen. I mean, it looks smooth. Does that mean he's made them all? No, but I mean, he looks comfortable shooting it.
Yeah. I mean, I'd be happy if he's making it at a 30-35% clip. That still makes it something that you have to be worried about.
Yeah, for sure.
CJ also talked about how special it is being home as he's gotten older. He felt the draw to come back to Cincinnati. Mentioned how important it was, and I may be crossing this over with some of the stuff from the movement, but how important it was to be wearing Cincinnati across his chest. Talked about how he's going to have probably 20 plus people in attendance between friends and family. Also mentioned how he has connected with Rayvon Griffith because they share that hometown bond. He also talked about how this is the first offseason he's had in 2 years where he hasn't been limited by injury, and how much fun it is playing in a free-flowing offense that they've kind of designed around these players. And he said he would tell his younger self to take better care of his body.
Yeah, I think we all learned that at some point in time, don't we? I'm not saying we're there yet, but
Rayvon Griffith said making the jump from high school has been challenging, and he's just trying every day to learn as much as he can from the older players. Quite a mature statement to kind of open up his media time with. You pointed out that his jumper has changed, and he said he has worked an awful lot to change that jumper and create some repetition in what his mechanics look like in his jumper. Interesting note that he is Jizzle James' roommate, said it's his best friend on the team. They seem to really, really get along well. And that he just said that wearing Jordan this season means a lot to him, as Jordan doesn't put their brand on teams just to put their brand on teams. It means that they actually believe in the team that's wearing their brand. And again, just for a kid who just came out of high school, I thought that was another pretty mature comment.
Look, man, these kids love nothing more than showing up at their locker one day and just having some new J's waiting for them. Like,
sure.
You know, there's a lot of grown ass men that would feel the same way, and that would commit somewhere under the pretense that every now and again we're just going to give you some exclusive J's that nobody else has. Like, there's a bunch of grown ass men that would commit right on the spot.
Victor's time, I feel like there was a lot that he said that we've covered over and over again. The only thing I really took away from it is is the fact that he doesn't necessarily like that he has to be a leader now, and he can't just be off on the side doing his own thing.
He hates it.
I thought that was hilarious. That was unintentional comedy. And I was actually surprised that you didn't know that he had done stand-up over in Russia.
No, I do. I was trying to see if he had done any here.
Gotcha.
Like an open mic night, or like, gone and just tried to do something for fun.
Okay. John Newman said that coming back this season was an easy decision. He said he loves the team and depth. It forces him to be better, kind of that iron sharpens iron type mentality, I guess. And then said that he has to continue chipping away at the hurdles from being his best self, where he was right around this time last year before the injury. I think that you and he both agreed that that was probably the best version of John Newman that we've seen since he got to Cincinnati, which I don't know if that is equal to his best since he was at Clemson before that.
Yeah,
right?
It was the best he had looked in college basketball, and then
there goes the knee.
Yeah, so frustrating because I don't think he's all the way back yet. I think it could been, and people aren't going to want to hear this, but I think it's going to be a situation with John where he probably improves as the
Over
season
time.
goes on and he gets more and more back to the guy that he was at this time last year. I mean, there were points last year around this time that he was the best player on the floor, and he's not back to that yet. And I think, as he continues to trust the knee more and get back into the rhythm, get back into the flow of things, because last year was kind of the first like real off season he had where he wasn't dealing with injury and whatever. Like, he had worked his way all the way back and was playing great and then gets hurt. And now he's kind of in the process of doing that again. So, I think there's a very real possibility that the John Newman we see Monday night is not going to be the John Newman we see by Christmas. But you know how fandom works in 2023. If he's not great immediately, then he sucks and is not worth the scholarship and needs to be sent to, the moon.
Look, if he was the greatest player right now on this team, I'd be a little concerned about the guys that we brought in.
But like last year at this point in time, he was better than Landers. He was better than Dave DeJulius. Like,
which is crazy talk. Like, I didn't see it, so I mean, I know you're saying it. I believe you, but I'm just saying that's crazy talk to me because that seems like things that are made out of like wishes, dreams, and hopes. So I don't know.
Again, I don't say things for the hell of it. Like I saw it with my own eyes, and then nobody else got to see it because he got hurt before he could display any of it. Right. So I'm just saying a little patience is probably going to be required with John early in this season.
And then we had Seamoss, who said he legitimately just can't wait to be out there on the floor with this team. He is super excited. He made mention of that, I think, several times. Said that he can fill a lot of spots on this team. He's kind of a Swiss Army knife, if you will, as he can play that point forward. He can play off the ball. He can play on the ball. A lot of different things that he can do with this team, but that's because he had a late growth spurt and he was always working on dribbling as he was used to being the shortest player on the team, and that is simply not the case anymore. So that's interesting as he came up, that's why he is as athletic as he is. Said that this team's I guess the best thing about this team is their chemistry and togetherness. It's going to be some things that win this team some games simply for being a better team in those regards than the other team. They're going to be able to score, but because they are as close as they are, he thinks that that's going to elevate them in winning some games. And said that the development for the point guards that he's seen this season has been huge. And then everyone had a laugh about the loss in translation. He doesn't cook, for those taking notes. He eats a lot.
Look, that's all I had to go on.
I understand. He just said
he told me that Seamoss cooks.
He said he eats a lot at the facility. He doesn't cook Russian food, and he probably won't. And said that he likes hamburgers, and he did not try Chipotle until after he had been in the States for a year, finally tried it, and loves it. And sad thing for him is this might be the worst Chipotle's ever been.
Yeah. Imagine if he had good Chipotle.
Pre-pandemic Chipotle was the best Chipotle.
Chipotle is so bad that my daughter wants me to make her burrito bowls here.
I don't eat Chipotle anymore.
Because I make them better than Chipotle.
I don't eat Chipotle anymore.
Yeah. I do occasionally, but not very often. Mainly because we make steak burrito bowls here like once a week. Because Kelsey loved Chipotle, but she acknowledges it's not that great right now.
No, it's mid. Yeah. So that's all the players and Coach Wes and all of those interviews. And the last thing I guess we have is the movement. Some of the notes I agree. I thought it was well done. I did catch some vibes from Let It Fly. I thought it felt very much in that same vein, as this will be Eichel Davis's swan song, I guess.
I hugged him today and told him that I was going to miss him. And he said, it'll be okay. And I said, I know, but that doesn't mean I'm not going to miss you.
I agree. His presence will be missed, and his absence will be felt when he is gone. That said, John Newman, Odi Oguama, and Victor Locken, their continuity, it means a lot to this team. That was the first takeaway that I had. Simas and Victor Locken are both excited about. This is their first time playing with another Eastern European, and they both, while the countries that they're from may not have a super fondness for one another, I think they're both very excited about having somebody from that close to home to play with. Again, yeah, CJ Frederick, he did grow up here. Talked about how it was a huge deal to wear Cincinnati across his chest. One of the themes was just that the history, the fans, the love, the support, it all means a lot to all the players and coaches who talked. Day-Day is the fastest on the team, not to be confused with Rayvon Griffith. Don't let Rayvon Griffith tell you otherwise. Everyone agreed that Day-Day is the fastest on the team. Not even close.
Actually, I think there's somebody end to end that when I watch them run sprints, regularly beats Day-Day, but he wouldn't be the fastest with the ball in his hands.
Who's that? Are you at liberty
Aziz.
to say?
Aziz.
Well, that's because he's
Aziz. His strides are the size of my room.
Well, also, if you're in a race, like you can get the lean, right? So he's got a much bigger lean than Day-Day.
If they were running sprints, I might take Aziz. But with the basketball in their hands, it's Day-Day.
Aziz has much larger strides. I think he's taking one stride for every two of Day-Day's. So
yeah, I was surprised Jizzle bent the knee a little bit. I thought for sure Jizzle would be like, "Nah, dog. Like, I got Hall of Fame bloodlines. I am way faster than you." But even Jizzle was like, "No, it's one. It's one."
Obviously, you have lots and lots of excitement about going into the Big 12. Everybody kind of talked about how the practice and Coach Wes are both tough, but there's obviously a lot of love that goes both ways between players and Coach Wes there. I thought the pennies in a jar thing was very interesting. I hadn't heard anything about any of this. At the end of every practice, the team decides if they're going to put pennies in the jar. At the end of the year, they can see how many pennies they built up and kind of invested into themselves, I guess. So
they talked about this a lot Wes's first year. You didn't hear much about it last year, but they did it. Like it's something that he's done.
Yeah, he had lots of pennies on the shelf.
Yeah. So it's interesting to see that they're kind of like bringing that back to life from year one.
And then the movement to everybody kind of gave definition to what the movement has been, as we've all been a little confused, I guess, as to what the movement is that they've been putting up everywhere, talking about for a while now. And the movement is just kind of the process of getting back to national prominence, building the brand back up to what it once was and getting it back to that Jordan level once upon a time.
Yeah, it's been a little while. So it'd be nice to have it back when we get it.
Those are all the notes that I had on the movement. I don't know if there was anything else that you saw.
No, I think you hit on pretty much everything. I mean, thought it was well done. I thought it was an interesting, look behind the scenes, and not surprised that, a lot of the focus was John and Odie and Vic being guys that, are in year 3, year 4 for Vic in the program in Cincinnati. So I thought it was a good starting point for everything today.
Yeah. I feel like I'm more excited every day as it gets closer and closer. Obviously we are, I think Ed put it up on Twitter today. Kenyon Martin days away from getting things started with tip-off coming Monday. I'm finally. This is probably the most excited I've been since Wes has been here.
Yeah, it's the best. It's the most. It's the largest collection of like top to bottom talent on the roster. Like, you know, I feel pretty comfortable, especially if they get a waiver or two, like
right.
10, 11, 12. Like you can go pretty deep on this roster and feel good about the level of talent that's on the floor, and we haven't seen that in a while. So
yeah, and CMOS kind of alluded to that somewhere today. One of the videos that I watched, I don't recall at this point, but just that he thinks there's several dudes on this team that could score 20 on you on any given night, and that's coming from a guy who's seen these other guys in practice. So I don't know. I mean, I don't think there's going to be anybody who does that regularly, but I would not at all be surprised if you see maybe 3 or 4 guys hit 20 this season.
Yeah, I mean, I think there's going to be a lot of balance. I think this is going to be a team that's got 4 or 5 guys right around that 10-point per game mark. I don't know that you're going to see anybody up around like 15, but I think you're going to have a bunch of guys from like 9 to 12, 9 to 13. Just the way that the ball is going to be distributed. I think it'll be an interesting team to watch as they develop offensively. Like that's still, take the waivers aside, set that aside for a moment. This is still a team replacing 4 of their top 5 scorers, and they're replacing them with guys that are new to the program. So there is going to be a transition period in November where they figure out, where is the ball going late in the shot clock? Where is the ball going late in the half? Where if they've been on a 3-4 minute drought, like who is the one that they're like focusing on? Okay, go get us a bucket and get us out of this thing. Like I think some of that stuff offensively is super important, and it'll be interesting to see like how that develops as the first couple weeks tick by, because going in, we don't know. I don't think the staff really knows. Like they talked about that. I don't know who the starting 5 is at this point.
Well, and it sounds like whoever starts game 1 isn't necessarily who starts game 2 or game 10 or game 20.
And that's what happens when you're replacing 4 of your top 5 scorers from a season ago, is that things are going to be a little fluid. So again, there's going to be some patience required early in this process. Does that mean they're going to lose games? No. I'm just saying they're not going to look like what they look like in December, mid-December, late December, on November 6th or whatever the hell Monday is. So that's all.
I think that there will certainly be an evolution to this team throughout the season, and we may go back to the beginning of the season and laugh at what this team looked like at the beginning and where they end up. But I'm excited to see the story of this season.
Yep, me too. All right, you got anything else?
I'm tired watching videos. I'm ready to.
It should be the last day where you have like 9 videos to watch.
That's good.
Okay. All right. We'll see you Saturday. Fingers crossed. That is the Nightcap, brought to you by Galactic Fried Chicken, right here on BearcatJournal.com.
See ya!